All right, hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. I have a few more thoughts on Pastor Greg Laurie testing positive for COVID-19. And I have a few more thoughts in terms of his response to it, meaning he doesn't understand why God allowed him to get it. And I find that very profound, okay? Because let me first say this. Before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. Now, before I want to say this, I'm not judging him. I'm certainly not saying, good for him, serves him right. But I do want to point out some, I think, things about this. He did an interview. If you can go and probably on his Facebook page, and there are other articles. You can go and you can see his interview where he talks about, of course, being, testing positive. He was at the Rose Garden event for President Trump's announcing the nomination of the new Supreme Court Justice. Of course, that in itself is not the problem, and so look. So far, there's been almost 30 people that have tested positive for COVID-19 that attended for that one event. Okay. Here's what I want to say about this. We're 9 months into this pandemic. On the one hand, you have famed Pastor John MacArthur, who said there is no pandemic, where he continues to hold meetings in his mega church. He continues to hold meetings, no mask, no social distance. And of course, it is in the face of the fact that California is number one, the number one state leading in with COVID cases and deaths. New York used to be, but now California is. Pastor Greg and Pastor John MacArthur Church is in California. There's no word yet in the sense that the both churches have a spread to this. But here is an interesting scenario. Now, Pastor Greg is what could be probably more ironic about him is that he's probably more on the neutral side. Yes, he's a conservative. Being at the White House in and of itself, to me, it would be par for the course. He's a conservative, and yes, he would probably be there, like when one of his mentors, Billy Graham, would be invited to the White House for various events. Okay. But unlike, for example, John MacArthur seemed to take upon the champion that there is no significant coronavirus, that is no impact, that they should not stop coming to church, that they should not social distance, that they should not mask, which I find highly foolish. Now, of course, what makes it even worse is that they haven't had an outbreak yet. So that even fuels their foolishness more. Now, the Bible tells us that a wise man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the foolish heads on and are punished. I should have put that on the thumbnail, as a matter of, now that I'm thinking about it, because that would have been great. But think about that proverb. A wise man foresees the evil and hides himself, but a foolish man pursues on and is punished. And that's a paraphrase of a scripture in Proverbs. So now we're going to kind of go back to the tale of two. Why did John MacArthur, why hasn't he gotten COVID-19 yet, as opposed to now, why did Greg get it? And remember, Greg asked the question. He doesn't understand why God allowed it. Well, because the foolish man pursues on. And here's my point. The irony of this is that, here's John MacArthur flagrantly violating it, right? Kind of flagrantly saying, come on, COVID-19, come get us, right? Now, Greg probably innocently went in. Greg probably innocently. But here was the thing. Where was the foolishness part of it? Remember, we're 9 months into this pandemic. And my question to John MacArthur and to any right-wing person, conservative person, because those are the ones who seem to be most, rebelling against wearing masks and PPE. What is COVID-19? Well, Greg knows, by the way, now. What is COVID-19? How do you get it? Greg knows. How do you spread it? I'll get to that in a moment with Greg. Those three questions remain pertinent for us today. COVID-19 is a virus that attacks the respiratory system. Greg knows that now. Greg knows that he can get infected. It is a highly infectious virus. I mean, this thing spread with ease and with the speed. Greg knows that now. He goes to a event, right? A house where no one was wearing masks, where very few people were, right? Most of the people were not wearing masks. There was no social distancing. And we now know that at least 30 to 34 people have tested positive, including Greg Laurie. Okay. So if anything is an example, the White House is an example. But here is another element. Remember I said the last question is, how do you spread it? Well, wisely now, Greg did not go to his church. He is in isolation. He is in quarantine. But suppose Greg says, I don't need to social distance, right? By the way, the president didn't social distance when he knew that he had was infected. Greg quarantined. But suppose he says, I'm going to go to church. Right there you see how in his church he could spread it. And I'm going to say to people like John MacArthur, that's all it takes is a person who is infected to come into your congregation. And all of a sudden now, it could spread like wildfire. And then maybe you too would be asking, well, why did God allow this to happen? He allowed this to happen because if you're foolish enough not to take it seriously, to take COVID-19 seriously, if you're foolish enough not to protect yourself, if you're foolish enough not to wear masks, when you know this virus exists, yeah, God will allow you to have it. Ask Greg. Greg also, in a grim way, hinted to the possibility of his mortality or immortality. Mortality. That he knows that he could be facing a certain death. And though he has a high chance of pulling through, guess what? It is on his mind. It's on my mind. And I ask God all the time to protect me from COVID-19. And I do my best to try to be mindful to where I go, where I congregate, who I congregate with, and to wear PPE. I don't understand Christians why they feel that they don't have to do that in this age where this pandemic is. Our numbers in the United States are not going down, they're going up. Deaths are not going down, they're going up. A wise man will foresee the evil and hide himself, but a foolish man will barge on and are punished. Greg Laurie is being punished with COVID-19 because what? In this day and age, 9 months into this pandemic, he was foolish enough to not take it seriously. He takes it seriously now. That is my perspective. And don't forget to like and share this video. And please subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought, a comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. Till next time, I'll see you then.